Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into
A head-on
it.
collision is a serious accident. An accident can be avoided if you plan your actions properly and think ahead of time about how you can get away from a head-on collision in one way or another. Causes of accidents and head-on collisions. The main reason why head-on collisions happen is that one of the two cars flies into the oncoming lane. The reasons for this are as follows: overtaking, incorrect assessment of the speed of oncoming traffic, the situation on the road, overconfidence, optical effects and fog and rain, which distort the visual perception of distance, become the cause of head-on collision when overtaking. An oncoming car driver's dream. This happens to drivers of heavy-duty vans, truckers. The motorist passes out right while driving the car. Characteristic signs: a long stay on the oncoming lane, when there are no obstacles to return to your lane, uncertain trajectory of movement, the car wiggles. If the driver does not react to light and sound signals, you should rely only on your own strength, having estimated the trajectory of the car. Loss of control, when the car skids on the road and it flies into the oncoming lane. It is difficult to predict the trajectory of the car in this case, so when choosing a course of action, you can only hope for luck. Other reasons. What to do if a car rushes towards you. How to properly avoid a head-on collision depends on specific conditions. The condition of the road surface, asphalt, dirt road, or gravel. The time of year. Winter and summer tires behave differently. It also matters whether the road is icy or whether it is raining or snowing. The number of road users, the speed at which the vehicles approach each other, and the speed of the oncoming traffic play a significant, if not the main role, and the driver's ability to react quickly and make decisions, the ability to feel the car and maneuver in the traffic flow. If you're overtaking a driver who is driving in his own lane, must estimate the speed of oncoming cars that are overtaking and entering his lane. In no case, it is impossible in a critical situation in a panic to cut into the oncoming lane without assessing the situation, as there will be a collision with the car that you tried to overtake. If the car is rapidly approaching on the oncoming lane and does not have time to complete the maneuver, that is, to return to its lane, the driver of the oncoming car should start braking in its lane. Sharp or smooth braking depends not only on the speed of the oncoming car, but also on the presence of vehicles following behind. If you brake sharply, there is a high probability that the driver of the next car will not have time to react quickly. And the danger is no longer that he will strike the trunk area, but that this blow will provoke skidding of the car and loss of control. The car is likely to drift into the oncoming lane. Some drivers at full speed immediately pull off to the side of the road. But braking on the side of the road is fraught with consequences because of unsuitable for this road surface, which has a lower coefficient of adhesion. Mud, snow, and rubble that gets under your wheels at high speed can cause you to lose control. Read also, how many kilometers you need to drive to recharge the battery. You should be careful when approaching vans that limit the view, because of one of them can sharply jump out of a car, and the outcome of the situation will depend to a greater extent on the speed of reaction of drivers. Driving in the oncoming lane for no apparent reason if the oncoming driver has the opportunity to return to his lane, but for some reason he slows down, you should slow down, signal him with a high beam and a horn, thus drawing his attention to the pre-avoidance situation. The driver may not be able to see the oncoming car or may be asleep at the wheel. These actions should help. If the motorist is still unresponsive, he or she is probably not in control of the steering for some reason. It is necessary to take a right or left turn by releasing the brake pedal. If the condition of the curb is good, it is recommended to turn onto it. In winter and in the absence of oncoming cars, the best option is the oncoming lane. Do not forget about the turn signal, because the car that created a critical situation can perform a similar maneuver, also trying to get away on the side of the oncoming lane. Then the collision will still occur, but already on the side of the road. It is possible to swerve to the left side of the road when there are no oncoming cars in the way and the right side of the road is occupied by people or traffic. Many drivers drive into the oncoming lane in an attempt to avoid a collision, even if it is not visible from a sufficient distance. For example, on an uphill slope, then there is a risk of being hit by an oncoming vehicle. If after a critical situation the driver starts to return to his lane, it is recommended to pull closer to the curb. The car skidded. If the driver of the car loses control due to a skid, then you need to immediately brake and try to avoid a collision with the help of a maneuver. The main thing is not to panic and not to direct the car to oncoming cars or into the forehead of the vehicle that has lost control. The most important mistake of drivers in a critical situation is to increase speed in the hope of skipping. Such behavior is justified only in exceptional cases. It is important to brake correctly. First brake, and only then make the desired maneuver. It is impossible to turn the steering wheel while pressing the brake. The car will go into a skid. You should not forget about the safety of the cars behind you. It is worth warning them of the danger ahead by signaling the emergency lights, if there is enough time to turn it on. If you don't have time to complete the overtaking. First of all, it is necessary to attract the attention of the driver of the oncoming car by blinking 1-2 times, thereby letting him know that it is necessary to slow down. This will help to gain time for further actions. Then there are two options for the development of events. Complete the overtaking by signaling with a turn signal, and quickly, but without sudden movements, to regroup in your lane. It is logical to do so when the overtaking is almost completed. For example, overtaking a long truck, and the car is already level with the driver's cab. Refuse to overtake. In this case, turn left turn signal, slow down to let the overtaken vehicle go ahead, and return to your lane. This is the best way to avoid a head-on collision if there is more than half of the overtaking distance left. Speeding up is to be avoided. It will not help prevent a collision. Read also, self-made heating system for wipers. Actions should not be frantic and chaotic. Returning to your lane, it is important not to undercut the traveling car. It is possible to direct the car to the left side of the road in exceptional cases, as it is intended for oncoming cars, and there is a high probability that the car driving towards you will avoid a collision to the right. Experienced motorists advise to start overtaking, slightly increasing the distance between your car and the car ahead, so you can better see the situation on the oncoming lane, and you can accelerate to overtake on the oncoming lane at a higher speed. You have to limit the amount of overtaking when visibility is poor, in fog, snowfall, when the road surface is of poor quality, at high speed of the oncoming traffic flow and modest technical capabilities of your own car. Starting overtaking, it is necessary to assess in advance the density of traffic ahead of the cars and the possibility of a quick rearrangement in your own lane. It happens that cars ahead of you go in a dense column, and you have to overtake not one, but several cars at once. What to do if a collision cannot be avoided? When there is no time to maneuver, you should slow the car down as much as possible. Experts believe that it is not worth changing the direction of travel so that the impact is tangential, as the consequences of an imminent frontal collision may be more serious. In a frontal collision, the driver and passengers are saved by belts and airbags. In a tangential impact, the car may bounce off the ground and flip over, sometimes more than once. It may roll into a ditch. Injuries can be more severe. The main thing is to group yourself before the collision. Protect the chest with elbows. Cover your face and eyes with palms. Keep your feet away from the pedals so that you don't get damaged by the crumpling body and don't get stuck between the seat and the front panel. Important. In almost all cases, in order to avoid the fatal consequences of a head-on collision, it is necessary to brake, slow down as much as possible. Even if a head-on collision cannot be avoided, a low-speed crash has a better chance of causing minor injuries. The outcome of a dangerous situation depends largely on the driver's reactions and the seconds remaining before a head-on collision. Even 1 second can help avoid an accident or save a life. If you've been in such a situation, share your experience in the comments. In conclusion, avoiding a head-on car collision requires vigilance, awareness, and proactive measures. By maintaining a safe distance, adhering to speed limits, and staying focused on the road, you can significantly reduce the risk of such dangerous encounters. Remember to always use your mirrors, signal your intentions, and be prepared to react to unexpected situations. Safe driving is not just about following the rules. It's about being responsible and looking out for yourself and others. Stay alert, stay safe, and let's make our roads a safer place for everyone. Thank you for watching.